context is, imagine, I mean, just close your eyes and think, yeah, you're in a forest. And these are, pristine forests in Western Ghats where you have access to good water, access to some of the most valuable resources in the world. But people who live there often do not have the negotiation power. അവർക്ക് അത് മാർക്കറ്റിൽ വിപണിയിൽ കൊണ്ട് കൊടുക്കാനോ അതിനൊരു വില അവർക്ക് നിശ്ചയിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ലല്ലോ. മാർക്കറ്റിൽ എന്താണോ വില അതാണ് ഫൈനൽ. സോ ആ ഒരു കോണ്ടെക്സ്റ്റിൽ അതേ സമയത്ത് വാഴച്ചാൽ മേഖലയിൽ 40,000 ഹെക്ടർ വനഭൂമിയിൽ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി ഫോറസ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ്സ് ഡിക്ലെയർ ചെയ്തു. യു ഹേർഡ് ഓഫ് FRA, ഫോറസ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ്സ് ആക്ട് ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യ. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ലാൻഡ്സ്കേപ്പിൽ 80% കാട് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു സമുദായമാണ്. പക്ഷെ അവിടെ മുതുവാന്മാരും മലയും കൂടി ആൾക്കാരും ഉണ്ട്. സോ വി തോട്ട് ദാറ്റ് ഇഫ് ദേ ഹാവ് റിസീവ്ഡ് റൈറ്റ്സ്, why don't we look at how they can assert those rights. അപ്പോൾ അവർ കാട്ടിൽ നിന്ന് എടുക്കാതെ ഇരുന്ന കുറേ സാധനങ്ങൾ മാർക്കറ്റിൽ വില ഇല്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് അതിനെ നമ്മൾ ഇൻസെൻറ്റിവൈസ് ചെയ്തു. Is there a non-Malayali speaker in the audience? Any non-Malayalis? Right. So we incentivized harvest of forgotten NTFPs. We promised a value for it even when we were not confident. But that's how it started, and we were, all this was part of the NGO work that we were doing. And we knew that there is a bunch of people out there, people like us in cities, who will value this. There are people who see value in this kind of product. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ തുടങ്ങിയ ആ യാത്രയാണ് RRC എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു NGO ആയിരുന്നു. ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് മലയരുടെ ഒരു ഗ്രൂപ്പിനെ പറ്റിയാണ്. And then in 2021, this movie was made. During that time, this whole branding exercise happened, and I'm talking about it in the film. That was in 21. Apurana Forest Post jenichadu. And so this is the landscape. Some of you may be from Cochin. So if you drive up from Cochin, this entire forest area used to be called the Cochin Forest. Panda British literature eduthu nokkiya, all that was called the Cochin Forest. Today nobody refers to it as Cochin Forest. And so we work in all these villages. This was made, this map is slightly old, but it meant that we were working in 4, then we expanded to 4 more and all that. That's just for those who like to look at geography. But so coming to the theme of today's subject, the weaving. Idu ശരിക്കും വളരെ അൺയൂഷ്വൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ബാംബു വീവാണ്. ഇതിനെ പറ്റി അപ്പോൾ ഇതിന് GI ടാഗ് എടുക്കണം എന്നൊക്കെ ഞങ്ങൾ ആഗ്രഹിക്കാറുള്ള സമയത്ത് we were browsing through a lot of old historical documents. There were people like German anthropologist Ehrenfels, there was one Mr. Iyer. These are people who had written extensively about the Kadar people and associated tribes, the Muthuva and the Malayar. And they had written, that they were the kings of the forest. They know the forest like the back of their hand. So there are volumes written about the Kadar. And for me also it was an eye-opener because, I'm an ecologist and I had only learned about Amazon's forests. I'd heard about the Western Ghats, but not the way the British had documented it. And the British had the people in it very, very strong. Then we started, so none of the British documents mentioned the word Kannadi Paaya. But we then started assuming that avarevadekkyo wicker work nu parayano adu bamboo weave aayirikkanam. And these are visuals from when we used to go into the forest with them. So it was also an exercise for us in, see, often what happens, I don't know how many of you work with communities, when you go to the communities, they think that their work is very backward. They think that, അടുത്ത മാസം വരും അപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഞങ്ങൾ ഈറ്റ വെട്ടി വെക്കാം, ചെയ്ത് വെക്കാം. And I used to say, no, I want to come with you, because I want to see where this is coming from. ഇതിൻ്റെ associated knowledge എന്താണ്, ബാംബൂവിൻ്റെ distribution എന്താണ്, coming from the ecology brain. So all that, so we used to go with them. And some of you heard of Uravinte trainings in village നടന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. And young boys were also trained not only in reading but craft. And so that whole led us to simply document the variety of Kannadi Paaya. And today, one of the weavers who is with us today, she's an expert in the nomenclature. ഒരുപാട് പേര് ഊരിൽ റീഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, പക്ഷെ എല്ലാവർക്കും നോമൻക്ലേച്ചർ അറിയില്ല. നോമൻക്ലേച്ചർ ഞാൻ പറയുമ്പോൾ കണ്ണാടി പായയിൽ തന്നെ പല വേരിയൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. സെറപ്പായ, കാസെറപ്പായ, മുകളിൽ കണ്ണാടി, പെറ്റി കണ്ണാടി. So there are people who know this and we don't know. നമുക്ക് കാണുമ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരും പോലെ. And so we got really excited about it. അതിൻ്റെ കൂടെ we also got excited about the comb that was missing in the village. അതും ഈ പറഞ്ഞ ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് ഡോക്യുമെന്റിൽ നിന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് കിട്ടിയത്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ചീപ്പിനെ പറ്റി അന്വേഷിച്ചപ്പോഴും ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് ഡ്രോയിങ്സ് ഉണ്ട് അതിനെപ്പറ്റി. ഇത് കാർഡർ ചീപ്പാണ്, പക്ഷെ മുതുവന്മാരുടെ ഇടയിൽ ഒരു ചീപ്പുണ്ട്. അത് ഞങ്ങളുടെ സ്റ്റോളിൽ വന്ന് കാണാൻ പറ്റും. വി ആർ റിവൈവ്ഡ്. ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ 18 കോപ്പീസ് ഉണ്ട് അതിൻ്റെ. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു വന്നത്, ഇതൊന്നും നമ്മൾ മാർക്കറ്റിംഗ് ആലോചിച്ചിട്ടൊന്നും ചെയ്തതല്ല. വി വാസ് സിംപ്ലി ക്യാരിഡ് അവേ with the sheer knowledge and the culture that this area, this landscape holds and the people hold. Cheapനെ പറ്റിയൊക്കെ കുറേ ഉണ്ട്. I can take a whole session on the cheap and the distribution of bamboo and all that. This is the only man in the village who can make that puhari. ഈ പുഹാരി മുതുവ സ്ത്രീകൾ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കുമ്പോൾ അവരുടെ ബ്രൈഡൽ ട്രൂസോയുടെ ഭാഗമായിരുന്നു. And women my age, women above 40, women above 60 said, oh, എനിക്കിത് കല്യാണത്തിന് കിട്ടിയിട്ടില്ല. Which means that it was not made in the village for so many years. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേകതരം ബാമ്പു നമ്മൾ ഷോലയാറിനായിട്ട് അവർക്ക് കൊണ്ട് കൊടുത്തു. ഇദ്ദേഹം ഉണ്ടാക്കി. His name is Maruduswamy. That's another story. One of the artisans who is here today, she has had a direct interaction with ex-Chief Secretary Vijayanand sir. Some of you know him. There's been a lot of appreciation during the UNDP work that Shoko Nada, UN India representative, ഇവരുമായിട്ട് ഡയറക്റ്റ് ഇൻട്രാക്ഷൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഫോറസ്റ്റ് പോസ്റ്റിന് അതേ സമയം ഒരു റെസ്പോൺസിബിൾ ടൂറിസം അവാർഡ് കിട്ടിയിരുന്നു. Some of you might ask us, what is the point in tourism in this? I think the idea is that if you are able to create small places in the world that are self-sustained, that are happy places, worth visiting, worth for a traveler to go visit and come back. Not necessarily buy something, but just to know that such places exist. And there's a sense of well-being around there that doesn't have to have the pure water and the pure. Our architects are amazing, and we should learn sustainability from them and everyone. So our concept aro namme nominate cheyidittu namukku outlook at that gold award kittiyirunnu. So today, of all the villages we work in, one is an exclusive bamboo weaver village. Avade naanu rendu perinu vannittullathu. And we've expanded to Malayatur Forest Department, where the department has invited us to give trainings. Our sales are mostly through our own website and through other retailers. Value chain, I mean, we can answer questions after this. This is all about picking one NTFP and doing the value chain of it, connecting it to the market. And farmers are doing this across the country. Farmer producer companies are doing that, cocoa and pepper and honey and all that. But here we tend to pick unconventional NTFPs. Unconventional പറയുമ്പോൾ സാധാരണ ഒരു മാർക്കറ്റ് വാല്യൂ ഇല്ലാത്ത സാധനം. For example, we might have, let's say, fern എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു ചെടി which grows along rivers. അത് ഇതിലെ ഒരു കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി കഴിക്കുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ അതിനെ ഞങ്ങൾ പിക്കില്ല. അതിന് മാർക്കറ്റിൽ കൊണ്ട് കൊടുത്ത ഒരു വില കിട്ടാം. Today, Chef Thomas from Local has been talking about it. So suddenly there is a big wave around it. This is fern pickle. Forest posted a fern pickle and that. So other than storytelling വഴി marketing വഴി ഇന്നലെ നവാട്ടി ജെയിംസ് സർ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ there's a lot of potential in storytelling. A lot of work we do in really small grassroots level needs to be conveyed to people who are there to listen. Not everybody will understand. I'm happy to answer questions after the session. Specific to the bamboo weavers, our biggest worry was, where's that big Kannadi Paaya? how do you put a price to something like this? I remember we knew 6 weavers in this village and they were all older women. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ കരുതി ഓക്കെ ഇതൊരു ഡൈയിങ് ക്രാഫ്റ്റ് ആണ്, യങ്സ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ആരും ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. The usual saga you hear all over India, craft is dying, craft has no future, etc. etc. But one of the weavers, you see her on stage after a while, she came up to me one day with a paya and she said, ചേച്ചി എനിക്കും മെടയാൻ അറിയാം, എൻ്റെ എന്താ പായ എടുക്കാം. I hadn't met her in 4 years. I'm talking about pre-Forest Coast days. And so this is actually her paya. She's here today. So ഇതിനൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ എടുക്കുന്ന എഫേർട്ട്, they might have gone into elephant territory, harvested it without a support of a man. Women go alone into the forest. They cut the bamboo. Horns on them. And they bring it on their own. Then it's a 2-3 weeks process. ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു പായയ്ക്ക എങ്ങനെയാണ് വില ചെയ്തത്? And Rati, when she first gave a piece to me, ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു വശത്ത് ഒരു കോപ്പർ കളറായിരുന്നു, because she had put it above her wood actually. അടുപ്പിൻ്റെ മുകളിൽ വെച്ചു. And she says, give me any price. So what I'm trying to say is that the burden of putting a price to something which is handmade, the labor of love, it is not something that can be measured in terms of, okay, എത്ര ദിവസം നിങ്ങൾ വർക്ക് ചെയ്തു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഹെറിറ്റേജ്, ഇതിൻ്റെ ഹിസ്റ്ററി, ഇതൊക്കെ കൂടെ എടുത്താൽ it's hard to put a price on it. So actually it was very burdensome for someone like me who's from a non-business background to learn to price some of these things. It's not easy at all. And then, can we produce enough? If tomorrow somebody says we want 100 Kannadi Paayas, is it possible? Probably not. Probably not in all likelihood in the same perfection. Different women will weave differently. She's one of the finest weavers. She's one of the youngest weavers. Uravile Anthony Marshaka did a work he used to say, I've not seen this kind of work. So that's what I'm trying to say. And then there's no policy to protect community knowledge from outside forces. Is that rain? Wow. Should not be outside. Okay, so I won't carry on too much. Pakshay, I want to say that this is the ultimate thing is to of course find markets, but also to, I won't use the word empower, it's been abused. I would say it's about getting these women to occupy decision-making spaces, to feel more confident, to feel value for their own work. അവർ ഇപ്പോൾ ഊരിൽ പോകുമ്പോൾ കുടിയിലാണ് അവർ പറയുന്നത്. If you talk to them, they'll say കുടിയിൽ എന്ന് പറയും. കുടിയിൽ യങ്സ്റ്റേഴ്സ് വന്നിട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ്? സേഫ്റ്റി കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ, എവിടെയോ ആർക്കും ഇത് വാങ്ങാനുണ്ട്. So that's the kind of thing we are trying to do, and we think we will address deeper issues of gender. Women never used to travel alone earlier. Today they come out, of course they want me with them, but they travel. Tomorrow they may be attending an international conference, who knows, right? And Kannadi Paaya doesn't belong here, it really needs to go out there. We have applied to the international art market in Santa Fe. Hopefully we get selected and the Kannadi Paayas get to see the world. People in the world get to see that. And so my contact details are there. And I want to invite Rati and Revati, Arya, we want to introduce them. So all I'll say is, if a formula is make the interest to come around them, just leave your slippers and come around them and talk to them. They're very friendly. They may be shy in the beginning and they'll leave for a while. I have about 5 kinds of paayas here. This is a Kannadi which has squares. This also is a Kannadi woven with Malai Eco, Susanna and her work. That's vegan leather. It's for an order in London actually. It will be filled with 50% Malai because this is an odd design. This is also a Kannadi. This is called Kannadi Paaya. This is from the Malay community and the Muthuva's don't know this at all. Um, I think somebody bought a castera yesterday. Oh, yeah. I'll just show you these because Dure Nana the Manslava. Maybe this is castera. This is called Serapaya. So if you see, there are steps going, moving on. That's the pattern. Right? I have to say that Kochi Biennale gave us a big market entry. We had people buying Kannadi Paayas. We have people like Manju Vasudevan who have bought several Paayas from us and used it in various interior spaces. It doesn't belong in a place where you perceive it as a table mat or it's beyond that. So let's invite them, and I think Arya will give an apt intro. I'll get to carry it.
So we are getting into the sweetest part of the sustainability zone, and we have two really special visitors today who have come from far away from a forest village deep in Edamalaya Valley. Meet Ravi Amman and Revati, two bamboo artisans belonging to Muthuva community. You will see a demonstration of their signature weave Kannadi Paaya, which recently received GI tag. With them is Dr. Manju, who is founder of Forest Post and has been working relatively on asserting value to promote wild foods and crafts and creative market Namaskaram. Sustainability zone ഏറ്റവും മനോഹരമായ ഒരു ഭാഗത്തിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ കടക്കുമ്പോൾ നമ്മോടൊപ്പം ഇന്ന് സ്റ്റേജിലുള്ളത് ഇടമലയിൽ നിന്നും നമുക്ക് വേണ്ടി കണ്ണാടി പായയെ പരിചയപ്പെടുത്താനായി എത്തിയിട്ടുള്ള രവി അമ്മാനും രേവതിയുമാണ്. ഒപ്പം മഞ്ജു മാമും സ്റ്റേജിലുണ്ട്.
Questions from anybody? Anybody wants to interact with them? Kannadi So, I was hoping she would do the Kannadi Paaya because she's a Sera expert. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നു പകുതി ചെയ്ത് കൊണ്ടുവരണം. Because otherwise it takes much more time, no? ഒരു മണിക്കൂർ ഇരുന്ന് കാണേണ്ടി വരും to see, say one line, you know. But we have very fast weavers also in the village. Something not related to the weaving. For the first time, I was in the garden. And so, Devi പറയാനുണ്ടോ കടലിനെ പറ്റി അറിയുന്നോ രതി ഓയ് പറയുന്നത് I think Tamil is right? Yeah. Cars of the leather, we do that in the evening. And guess what? We took them to the zoo. This is the idea of captive animals. Imagine, right? They have only seen wild animals. So I thought they'd be quite amused to see wild animals, and they said they want to see only the tiger. So we went to the zoo, but we didn't do the full walk. The guys there were also very friendly. They said, ഇവിടുന്ന് ഒന്നിനെ കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നത് ഇനി വരുമ്പോൾ അവിടെ നിന്ന് എന്തിനെങ്കിലും കൊണ്ടുവന്നോളൂ എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു. എന്നിട്ട് ഞങ്ങളെ ബാക്ക് എൻട്രൻസിൽ കൂടെ വിട്ട് കുറച്ച് ദൂരം നടന്ന ടൈഗറും ലെപ്പേർഡും ഉണ്ട്. പിന്നെ മെക്കോസ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ട്, ദോസ് ബിഗ് ബേർഡ്സ് ഫ്രം ലാറ്റിൻ അമേരിക്ക. അത്രയും കണ്ടിട്ട് വി കെയിം ബാക്ക്. രേവതി എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയുന്നു കടുവയെ കണ്ടിട്ടേ ഇല്ലേ? കാട്ടില് കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ആനയെ see all the time. When I go to their village, I stay with them. They all have mud floors, and if they have flatten out the layers. That's what they sleep on. And the model engineer Paaya. Now every house has a Kannadi Paaya like this. Sorry. Well, I think the DFO wouldn't be very happy if I took people there, but they come out to Adirapalli. We meet people at Rainforest Resort sometimes. Last month, September, we had Laidlaw scholars from US and UK who are studying fashion actually, sustainable fashion. And we had an interaction with them. The older weaver were also there. They are more comfortable in smaller groups. So we are like 10 of us, you have a meal together, then they recognize you. This is slightly more.
What happens when the other guy makes the post and he's like asking?
Can someone pass the mic, ma'am? Can someone pass the mic? I think this. Another would come, ma'am. Saying what happens when?
What happens when that craftsman who makes the codes doesn't do it anymore?
I'm glad you asked that. Yeah, so I found out something very surreptitiously. There is a very good male craftsman right next to Marudaswami's house, and he does those spoons which came up in one image, those salad spoons that Anna had taken for Binale. അദ്ദേഹത്തിനോട് ശിവേഷൻ ചേട്ടൻ എന്നാ പേര്. I asked him, ശിവേഷൻ ചേട്ടനും കൂടെ പുഹാരി ഉണ്ടാക്കിക്കൂടെ? Then we'll find a market for this. We'll talk to museums. We'll get the handicraft commission to get excited about it. He told me, he said, "Ariyana, please." So there is and then he said, "It was Swami Chedote." So my feeling is, the way I decipher it is, I think there is an unwritten tradition that when this is a bridal trousseau and oru bhagaanallo, so it's not something that any craftsman will do. After he passes, only another person would do nanu enikku thonunnu, but in any case nobody was doing it for so many years. And this person, Marudaswami, has a song, oru paattu thanne undu Puhari Moongilne patti. Moongil means bamboo, and he got very excited. He said, "Bashe, enikku ivide aa moongil illa, ningal konda taranam." So ഞങ്ങൾ താഴെ ഷോലയാറ് പോയിട്ട് ഇതെല്ലാം ബസ്സിലാണ് കേട്ടോ. 3 ബസ് യാത്രയിൽ ഒരു ചീപ്പ് റെഡിയായി, 6 ചീപ്പ് റെഡിയായി. ഇറ്റ്സ് വെരി ഫാസ്റ്റ്. So if we had a car and all, we would have probably done it in less than that. So I'm so glad you asked that question, because yeah.
Manju, you want to continue this or want to wrap this?
Like I said, material, if most people, like what ma'am is asking them now, is whether they can do the same thing with panade nara or pandanus or screw pipe. You can, but you won't get this sheen. This is called twill weave, and it's the bamboo's inherent quality that gives it this double sheen. When they tried weaving with Malai Eco from Malai Zuzana's venture, it's come out beautifully. Initially there was a resistance. They said either the tensile strength is different, weaving they finish it. But they took it as a challenge. There are 3 weavers who have done lots of pieces when I went this time. But I guess material change cheyumbol kannadiyude oru pattern emerge cheyilla. For instance, there used to be one party, her picture is at our stall, initially when we gave them color, they would get very excited. That the kotteda border naan nammal color koduttadu. But Kannadi Paaya color it will go from one end to the other. It will go diagonally and it will break the pattern. So there's a point, right? So I feel like design interventions have limitations given the scope of the work. Even in a Malai, it will not look like a Kannadi Paaya, but it's an interesting material for a different purpose perhaps. And I think possibilities are important. So shall we wind up? Thank you all for patiently being here in such an unconventional session.
Thank you, thanks Manju, and thanks bringing our special guest here. Because it's a unique experience both for us and all the people.
So we are winding up our sustainability zone programs with this Kannadi Paaya film, and I would love to thank our special guest, Revi Chichi, and Tati Amma, and also Manju ma'am for bringing such a beautiful patterns to the stage, giving us a glimpse of what sustainability is, and I think this is the best thing we can have in the sustainability zone. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for the audience for keeping up with us, being patiently waiting for what they are doing, being with us with enthusiasm and so much energy for all these 3 days. And I would love to invite me, manager Kerala Startup Mission, to give our token of appreciation to our special guest, Dr. Muthuva. Kerala Startup Mission name, a very sustainable zone name. സ്നേഹോപഹാരങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഒരുക്കിയിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഇത്രയും ദൂരം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി പുതിയൊരു കലാരൂപത്തെ കലാസൃഷ്ടിയെ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് വന്ന് അവതരിപ്പിച്ചതിന് 2 പേരോടും 3 പേരോടും ഞങ്ങൾ വളരെയധികം കടപ്പെട്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. നന്ദി.
This is our special token of appreciation to you.